What's happening, YouTube? It's your homie S. Dot coming back to you with another video. And today's video is all about just a simple recap of my past weekend at the Energon Invitational at PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And also my third place deck profile for my Shockwave deck. Keep in mind, for my Shockwave deck profile, there's a couple things going on. So it was a challenge to try to be able to get deck profiles. People were trying to leave, and I understand that. So, I wanted to get the Insecticon deck profile from, I forgot his name, but shout out to him for making the top 4. I wanted to get his deck profile, and I wanted to get a couple of those deck profiles, more than the normal Shockwave and, etc. But I did manage to get our first place after Swiss players deck profile for his Jetfire list, playing Jetfire and Aimless. Be looking for that deck profile coming up Monday. I had some difficulties with my computer this couple of days ago, so I wasn't able to get the videos out exactly when I wanted to. So be looking forward to that Monday. And I do have another Shockwave list. Now I think it's important on a couple of scales of why I got that deck profile. One, because he was available and I had a chance to get to him. Shout out to Aiden before he went back to, I want to say Toronto or somewhere in Canada. It's a 10-hour drive. So he was about to leave, but he was cool enough to sit down with me and talk to me about the deck. So it's cool on a couple of scales. It's cool for all the Shockwave fans. Of course, it's going to be boring for people that's getting sick of seeing Shockwave on my channel. I understand that, but just realize Shockwave is one of the better decks of the format. And, I've been playing it, of course, for a good while. Well, since the beginning, since Gen Con. But what's cool about his deck list, it's different than mine, first of all. It's inspired by Kyle Wynn, our PPT Dallas winner. Shout out to him. And the thing is, Kai never did a deck profile for his deck. I don't think he has a YouTube channel or anything like that. I don't know if any of those Texas guys are doing that. Maybe they're working on one. But so he never did an official deck profile for his deck. You were able to see his deck list from the PPG Facebook group. And so hearing Aiden actually talk about it, he got inspiration from Kai's list. And so hearing him actually talk about it, it's pretty cool. It doesn't play any handheld blasters. It's top heavy on actions, like very top heavy on actions, more than like Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend deck. So it'll just be cool to see a different perspective and just, not just think that my Shockwave deck is the only one that's, out there just because, I got further or whatever. Because, Aiden still made it to the top 8. That was a, hard fought day for him to be able to make it that far. And, we went to war. I played him in top 8 and ended up taking the win and moving on to the top 4. But again, shout out to Aiden. Very cool dude. 19 years old, swole guy, man. He's mad cool. We were talking about the gym and stuff, so we clicked, right away. So again, yeah, shout out to him. So those are the only 2 deck profiles I was able to get, but there are the deck profiles on the Transformers website. I will see if I can get that link and post that down below so you can just check out all the deck lists. Of course, you won't be able to get an explanation for each of those, but I know like Dan Arnold, he'll be doing a deck profile, or deck tech as they like to call it, for his winning deck list, I'm sure sometime this week or next week. And Adam Bixler's deck profile, I'm sure him and his team, the Dark Confidence, will be doing a deck profile for that. And just the other ones are kind of lost in the fray, unfortunately. So unless those guys create a YouTube channel or get a deck profile article out, we won't get an explanation, but at least you'll be able to see the deck list. So long-winded story about that. Probably said a little bit too much about it, but that's pretty much the gist of it. So just expect another Shockwave deck profile and a Jetfire deck profile next week. I'm going to show my latest Octone deck. Well, not my latest, but the one that I've been playing since before the event that I was potentially going to play. And I've updated it since, and also my own try at Jetfire, because I got some inspiration from one of my losses throughout the day, and let's jump into that right now. So get to the event Friday. Stay with Powered by Primus. First of all, I got to give a big shout out to Powered by Primus. The Colorado crew is on point. Those guys are so cool. Mad cool group. Shout out to Jamie for reaching out to me and Wes Robinson for reaching out to me to potentially stay with them. We had this set up since about maybe 4 or so months ago. So it's really cool to be able to hang with those guys. If I was ever planning on moving to Colorado, I'm trying to move around their area so I can play at their local. Very cool group of guys. Never a dull moment. So stay with those guys, and me and Jamie play tested the Shockwave mirror match. He was playing Sights and Flamemore, I think, and I was playing the list of, that I ended up taking away 3rd place in. It seemed like whoever went second won. We played like maybe 5 or so games, maybe 2 matches in another game, and that's what it kind of seemed like. So we kind of, register that, you know, in terms of realizing that, yeah, probably going second is probably better, because of course your shockwave is be able to hit their shockwave first no matter what. And then on the wheel turn, it's very important that the opponent's shockwave that had to go first has the bigger they are potentially to be able to get you know, at least some damage on the shockwave to try to win that damage race, to get that damage race going, you know, back in their favor potentially. So just kind of skipping along, you know, did some playtests on Friday, went to the reading terminal, and had a Philly cheesesteak in Philly. It's, you know, that's broken. Very good food. And then we jump right into Saturday, and of course, you know, I'm stressed about the event itself, Sealed specifically. So just skipping all the way to round one. Round one, I played against Octone, and of course, I played against my boy Wes. One of the guys, Wes Robinson, I stayed with. Shout out to him. He's been very cool. We've been cool since kind of the beginning, or I want to say origins. He made me some Akuma dice. It has, like, you know, Akuma sign, like, you know, from Street Fighter when he, obviously Street Fighter, when he wins a match, when he turns around and that sign that glows on his back, he made me a whole bunch of dice with that sign as, like, for the 6 or whatever. And those dice are mad cool. So shout out to him for those. And he's just been really knowledgeable. He is, really knowledgeable about the game and about the franchise as a whole, and he's always schooling me and, you know, teaching me new things about things, you know, things I had no idea about the Transformers entity as a whole. So shout out to him. But unfortunately, we had to play first round, and I'm like, man, of all rounds, you know, this is one of the unfortunate things of knowing people and, you know, being on a team and all those other things. Just like you unfortunately have to run into your teammates or run into your friends. It's just part of it, but it's all respect. You know, we just bump heads, go to war in the game, and it's all friendly. So we played, and he played Octone. And I want to say Octone with Flame War and Nova Storm from Wave 4. Well, I guess that's the only Nova Storm we have, but she is from Wave 4. Took that game to Game 3. Game 2, I did mess up, and I had a Smelt, and I should have used it on the Terrifying Resilience that he had, Lonely on the field, his lone upgrade rather. And I dismissed it and didn't think I would need it because my shockwave was already at like 12 or something. I think I was fully loaded or just about. And when I attacked, he flipped like a lot of double blues on that defense, and he actually ended up top decking an opportune offensive to take that game and push us to Game 3, which also almost pushed us to time. So already I'm, you know, nervous and stuff, and then I make a misplay like that. I'm not really analyzing my hand in the play because we were such on crunch time and worrying about going into time. And it was just, you know, the nature of how the blue matchup worked out. Even despite my video, it still is hard sometimes with blue versus blue matchups to not go into time. But we ended up, you know, getting there just before time. I ended up taking that game. Again, shout out to you, Wes, and the Powered by Primus crew. But round 2 was the start of what I thought was going to be my demise. I play against a Raider Aimless Jetfire, Captain Jetfire deck. So Jetfire, of course, is a natural counter to Shockwave. They're never going to be in a position where they're going to be top decking because, you know, of course, Jetfire's broken 5 Treasure Hunt for 5 effect in his alt mode. So it was, I wasn't necessarily, remember I've been on record in the past saying I don't necessarily care about that. I care to an extent. Like I said, if you have 2 cards in hand, of course I'm going to flip Shockwave and also play UFO/Gamma Launcher to take both those cards out your hand. But if you have 5 or more cards in hand, I'm fine. We're just going to play a regular game, and I'm still able to play the cards off the top of my deck. That's what I really care about the most. But even then, there was a point where I think I had security checkpoint, and I knew that he had at least 2 extra paddings in his hand. And that turn, I should have security checkpointed him. And because I didn't, once he played the extra paddings, the only armor or the only upgrade removal I had in my main deck were Sabotage Armaments and a lone Smelt. So Smelt's only going to be able to get rid of 1, and that's not going to be good enough. And then the Sabotage Armaments can take care of his weapon, sure, but it's not that big of a deal when he can easily, most likely, get another one the next turn. So my Shockwave fully loaded at 12, still only pushed through maybe 1 to 2 damage, maybe 3 at a given time. And it just wasn't fun. It just wasn't... It was not fun for Shockwave to try to be able to get through that. Game 2, I'm hoping that I can find my W5 Gyro Blaster. I only sided 1. I think that card would be very good against them. Well, no, it is very good against them. I don't think, you know. So we can only flip, you know, 2 cards per battle for each of us. So I was hoping to find that Game 2. I did side in a Bastion Shield that I had Game 2 as well. I think I saw the Bastion Shield, but it just wasn't enough. And the game ended up pushing closer to time, and what ended up actually happening is he isolated my Shockwave and actually War of Attrition me for 3 for game. Like, when I say for 3 for game, he played all 3, and dealt 3. You have to pick a character to deal 1 damage to. So you do that times 3. So obviously all the 3 of them go on Shockwave. And then if you play your 3rd War of Attrition that turn, you heal 3 from one of your characters. So he healed 3 from his Jetfire, but that didn't matter. You know, dealing 3 to me, I just lost like that. I probably lost anyway. But so that was something that I got something for you though, Jetfire, come Orlando. So, but anyway, yeah. So lost to Jetfire, and I'm 1-1 going into Sealed, and I'm not feeling good. And you know, it's really unfortunate because I really wanted to start 2-0. Of course, everybody wants to start 2-0 at all times, but like for me especially, I knew that it was a goal of mine to definitely start 2-0 and going 1-1. If I lose, at least being 1-1 rather, if I lose 1 round of Sealed, the best I could do at that point is 7-2 to at least make it into top 16, top 32 to maybe cash out. That's like that. The cashing out and like the prize money was like the last thing on my mind. But the last resort is like, okay, this is my last leg to stand on. I can go 6-3 or 7-2 and at least still cut to the top 32 to at least be able to bring home some money at that point. You know, like I said, the money was the last thing on my mind, which I kind of skipped all the way to already because I'm 1-1. But so we get to Sealed, and we're gonna talk about my deck list coming up right now. All right, everybody. So going into Sealed, it was an interesting process of how everything went. You take your packs. They had everybody, whatever side of the table you sat on, a white sheet of paper. There was a white deck list and a purple deck list to fill out your decks, your Sealed decks. So long story short, what ends up happening is one side, player A opens their packs, and then player B verifies the contents of them. Then player B also opens their packs afterwards and verifies the contents of them. I'm probably skipping a part, but long story short, you swap each other's cards and contents. And you know, you do your characters first, and then you do your battle cards, and then you give them to your opponent, and vice versa. And they document all the contents of everything that you pulled, so that way there's no cheating. Of course, if we didn't have to document these things, people could go to the bathroom or do things, you know, and obviously switch out some of their cards and put in some of the more stronger cards from Wave 3 and Wave 4. So we didn't want any of that. So it was an interesting way to do it. The time constraint wasn't, I think we had like maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes for one part, 20 minutes for another part, or like 30 minutes to build your deck. It was 50 minutes or so total. There weren't really too many issues on my part. I don't know about everybody else, but not necessarily because of what I pulled, but I'm going to show here in a second. But the entire process, the instructions were pretty self-explanatory. You just had to make sure you write your name and your opponent's name on the, your name on the sheet that you were verifying, and then of course the user's name. You put that on both sides, etc., etc. So it wasn't that bad, not for me. And then lo and behold, I go to open my packs, and as I open my packs, I'm kind of just registering what I'm pulling. And first off, I'm going to just run through these real quick. I pulled up Raider Ion Storm. Now, of course, we all know Ion Storm is very, very good in Sealed. If he doesn't need to attack in the mode where he's a debilitating crystal, which he's most powerful for, first of all, well, he's also a 7 base attack in both modes, but he also has 3 defense in this mode, so you can just simply attack with him in this mode and not really care. So that was nice. And then for my second pack, I actually end up pulling another Ion Storm. Like right away, back to back. So I'm like, first thing that immediately comes to my mind is, am I able to play 2 Ion Storm? And sure enough, you actually can. So in Sealed, you're able to play the same character. So I wouldn't start too tall, but if I needed to go into 2 tall versus wider decks, I definitely would. And so that was pretty good. So had that, and then my third pack, my big character was Raider Trigger Happy. Raider Trigger Happy is another great card in Sealed, and just actually a good card I've seen and constructed as well. His alt mode, you know, when you flip to this mode, you're able to return a weapon from your scrap out of your hand. So that was the next thing I was worried about, is if I'm going to have enough weapons to be able to recur. As long as I have a couple of weapons, you know, to be able to just bring back so they're not, you know, lost forever until I reshuffle. And then, of course, his mob mode, he's a 2 Pierce 2 and a very solid unit. So with that being said, I had the Trigger Happy. Then I also pulled a Omega Supreme Base. This is for my Wave 4 stuff. Omega Supreme Base, a Deadlock, and a Mirage. Now for my smaller characters, running through my smaller characters, I pulled a Raider Visper, Raider Roadhugger, a Vanguard, and Raider Laserbeak, a Fix-It, and a Hyperdrive. Now, the one that's in the sleeve, you can clearly tell what ended up being my team. My team ended up being the 5-star Rat Bat, Ion Storm, and Laserbeak. Or Trigger Happy and Laserbeak. So I was going to be Private Vanguard, but it forces you to have a Trigger Happy weapon for Trigger Happy in the scrap out earlier, because if I go Vanguard, I have to flip Vanguard, attack with Vanguard, then the next turn flip Trigger Happy back down to alt mode, and then kind of pretty much forced me to attack with Trigger Hat or with Ion Storm right here, which actually wouldn't be the worst thing because he has a 33 defense and he definitely won't die to the next even 2 attacks most likely. And then on the next turn I can just flip Trigger Happy back again and then attack with him then. But with this line of play, going with Laserbeak, he does have 4 more health. I don't think the Vanguard turning into 8 armor was that big of a deal because of all the pierce. So if my opponent still attacked me with a small 5 drop and hit me for a 3 pierce 3, well, my 4 defense or 5 defense even didn't really matter at that point. So it's not like the black definitely really made a difference in this sealed format. So I played Laserbeak. Laserbeak is a guaranteed Pierce 2 when I attack with it. So got that in, and of course it scales up as well too. So if I flip the orange or I flip the black, it adds up together. So if I flip 2 oranges and 1 black, now he's 4 Pierce 3. If I flip 2 oranges and 2 blacks, now he's 4 Pierce 4. So he's like the bigger they are attacking in. And then on my next turn, I would flip Trigger Happy and attack with Trigger Happy, hopefully maybe with a weapon, and let his Pierce potentially scale. And then on my next turn, I would flip Trigger Happy back down, grab a weapon from my scrap pile just to have some flip equity, and equip whatever to Ion Storm and get in with Ion Storm. And that line of play, I honestly might have dropped 1 game, but at the same time I'm being humble about it because I don't remember exactly, but I don't remember if I lost any, but I damn sure remember I had a lot of time after each of my rounds. So I want to say I think I ended up going 2-0 in each of my 3 rounds. So I was very blessed to pull what I pulled, but it's not over yet. Gotta show you guys my battle deck. So my battle deck was pretty broken, I will say. I scanned through the cards as I was pulling them or opening them, and I'm like, my eyes lit up, and I'm like, damn, these cards are kind of nuts. Like, geez, I pulled like a lot of good stuff. So showing my side deck real quick, I did pull a Relentless Invasion. I would only use this if I went into 2 tall or if I had used any other 3 wide variation to, and I potentially had, stars left over. I did have a Blast Suit, EMP Wave, a Sturdy Armor, Even the Score, Quartermaster, Hijack, Extra Padding, and Acute Reflexes. Now this is 9 cards in my side deck. I actually ended up playing 27. Rules real quick for sealed are you have to have a 25 card minimum deck and a character lineup that equals no more than 25 stars. And anything else you didn't register that and put on your deck list, all of those extra cards become your side deck. So if I started with Ion Storm, double Ion Storm, I think I could go into 3 wide or whatever, since your entire character, the rest of your characters are all your side deck. You can go into 3 wide or 4 wide afterwards, but at the beginning of every match you have to start out 2 wide with whatever you registered. So, and then 25 cards minimum. So that means the other 11 cards, since you get 36 cards, the other 11 cards are going to be part of your side deck. So I had these 9 in here. I didn't find them that useful. Even the score would have been useful if I sided into Ion Storm, because then I could have this double orange. That's nice, of course, on flip. And even if you draw it, it's fine to keep when one of your Ion Storms are about to die. So you could set it and then trigger even the score then. So that was nice. And the rest of these cards just weren't good enough to play. The Hijack, maybe if my opponent was playing Springer or Shockwave, I might have sided in or whatever. Or Fix It would have been nice to be able to have that as well. And Acute Reflexes. Acute Reflexes is the one I actually sided in for. I had an Anticipation Engine in my main deck, which I'm going to show you here in a second. I wish I actually would have main decked this in the first place, because this is very strong with the focus. Though I don't have that much blue in the deck, if I do flip a white, I do get a natural defense from that. Or not a natural, but an additional defense. But without further ado, showing off my sealed deck. So I had a Frag Toss. Frag Toss was really good because it's 1 damage normally, but if you had started with all Decepticons, your opponent chooses the same character that they dealt the 1 to and deal another 1 to it. So it ends up becoming a Plasma Burst. And I started with all Decepticons: Ion Storm, Trigger Happy, and Laserbeak. So a very good card. Then I had a Special Delivery, another burn card. It's like Bombing Run, but a black icon. Defensive Formation, the power of 1 always comes in handy, and it's an orange. Wedge Formation, Designated Target, Contract Contingency. These cards are just all good. I'm not gonna really burn through these too much. Medic was great. They would target my Trigger Happy a lot, down to KO it sooner than my Ion Storm, and then I would just like save this card and save my other heal card that I had in my deck for Ion Storm, and he would just live forever. And he's usually my last one on the battlefield anyway, but that card's great. 1 War of Attrition, 1 2-pronged attack. So I had a lot of burn, as you can see. I had like 4 burn cards, 3 or 4. Yeah, 4 burn cards. So 2-pronged attack, Frag Toss, Special Delivery, and War of Attrition. This card was great. It's a Plasma Burst that they get to choose, but the thing is, unless they're playing a Battle Master, you could just probably play it and put pressure on them. Or a late game, if they have 2 characters, or especially obviously the best case scenario is if they have 1 character. Besides Shockwave or whatever, there's really not that many cards in Siege 1 and 2 that are going to strip your hand. So you can literally hold this until like the last couple of turns of the game and get maximum value out of this. Close to maximum value out of it. And I played one pack talk to get some draw power. And not that you necessarily really even need it with 27 cards, but I still played it anyway. It wasn't bad, it wasn't good, so it's kind of whatever. And one battlefield scan, I did main this for the black icon, and it's a green. If my opponent were playing any of the patrols that all have stealth, like when they're untapped, I could potentially surprise my opponent and maybe even get after their leader patrols. So if they were playing Power Train or I don't remember the other ones. Power Train and Tailwind. How can I forget about Tailwind? This card was clutch to be able to come in. It never came up, so it was just there for its green, and to maybe potentially trade for other cards that I didn't need in my hand, just to have it in my hand for whatever. And then last but not least, I think the most powerful action I ended up having was a head-on collision. This card gives +3 attack to a character that you have in alt mode, and so putting this on Ion Storm makes him 10 base attack, and that's definitely just insane. And then running through my weapons real quick, I had one Dismantling Claw, one Sturdy Javelin, great with with Trigger Happy, one Combat Dagger, so it's nice for the icons and to get that bold to fill in the attack with Pierce, so you can get some guaranteed damage. One Soldier's Blaster. This card is one of the best cards, one of the best weapons in Sealed. Definitely helps out whatever faction you put it on. The opposite faction that you're attacking, you get +2 attacks, so +3. And it's a green icon. One Crowbar, so even though it fell off, I can always get it back with Trigger Happy if I needed to. One EM24 Laser Launcher. This card is probably also one of the best weapons in Siege 1 and 2 to have. Just a static +3. The icon definitely doesn't matter. Very powerful. One RR Disruptor Blade. That card's great. One Anticipation Engine. And that was it for my weapons. No, was it? Maybe. I think I'm missing. I feel like I'm missing one. Yeah. No. Okay, no, I'm not. So yeah, I had 8 weapons. 8 is a lot. The Anticipation Engine really didn't do much, so I kept swapping this out for acute reflexes, but hot damn. So next up, we had a basic combat protocol, a metal detector to help fill out my characters and get them suited up. One minor medic kit. I always save this for Ion Storm. You can put it on any character, but I think maybe one time I didn't save it for Ion Storm. But between this and medic, the Ion Storm has potentially 18 health, so he's living for a long time, and he's also smacking bots like it's nothing. And then one Immersed Shadow. This is card so the character has stealth while it's untapped. I never got a chance to use it, but if I would probably put it on Trigger Happy, so he can only be attacked while he's tapped, and when we all stand, they don't have a chance to attack him. But it just never came up. It was really there for the icons. Card that was solely in here for his icons because I played no tanks was the orange-black card, Composite Armor. Every time, like Battlefield Scan, that card I was just talking about is a card I would put this back in the scrap pile and add the Battlefield Scan to my hand because I'd rather have this in my deck to flip on attack. And then last but not least, I actually also had a Force Field as well. So if my opponent was boasting big attack, I could put this on Ion Storm to save him, or even potentially Trigger Happy and make them waste another attack into it. So yeah, my sealed pulls, as you can see, were broken. So I gotta say, I'm blessed to have the sealed pulls that I did. I know that a lot of people didn't pull as well, but I think there's also some hidden things. I don't want to say people were missing things, but things that I missed, like multi-missile pod, for example. Multi-missile pod is actually an armed hovercraft. So if you even have a plane, you should potentially play that card. Like in the pool that I pulled a major shockwave in, I also had Raider Night Flight. And I did not play the my head itches. I did not play the multi-missile pod, thinking that for whatever reason, thinking that I needed all 3 to be able to deal 3 to each. But if I read the damn card correctly, you only need the 1, and you can just ship the 1 and deal 1 to each character. So having a literal armed hovercraft in Sealed is very good. So little things like that I overlooked and was like, oh well, this card isn't good enough, but it actually was. Going wider with a lot of black and a lot of orange because blue isn't that good. Shout out to Dan Arnold too. When we talking on podcast, he's going to mention about that as well, about how he built his Sealed deck as well, because he also went 3-0 in Sealed. And of course, our eventual winner of the tournament. So I was going to mention that towards the end, but I'll say it now. So congratulations to him. But we'll talk more about that towards the end. Yeah. So the idea was to just go heavy black and with orange. Try to fill in and get that maximum pierce damage and go from there. So yeah, it just all worked out, and I'm glad I just wasn't on that other end of having a more difficult deck to build maybe that, like I said, there was some potential other thing. I saw some people build some interesting and cool decks, but overall, when you run into those guys that have Lord Megatron, or you ended up playing against me, because I'm not gonna lie, like you can't. That deck was broken. Yeah, you know, it could potentially be tough. So we'll see how that is going forward, what they do for next year, if the 2 sets going into Energon Invitational in 2020 is, you know, would be better or whatever. But we'll see. We'll see. I guess I am kind of biased if I sit here and say I didn't mind it, because obviously, you know, my pulls, but enough babbling about that. Talking about, so coming out of Sealed, I'm 4-1 now, right? 4-1, immediately running, I think I'm at like table 5 at this point, and I run into another Shockwave mirror, or a Shockwave mirror rather. And the only thing I really remember about it, I think I ended up winning 2-0, because I think a lot of my rounds, I actually ended up having a lot of extra time, because a lot of my rounds I just ended up winning 2-0, so that was nice to be able to have those little breaks and kind of walk around and scope and see what everybody else is playing, and just kind of, you know, just I enjoy watching people play. So, but I think he played like a pocket processor at one point, and he kind of like burned himself at a point, because I sided in Cali Burst, and he, between the Shockwave flip, that would be a Plasma Burst if he did that, plus the pocket processor and things. It didn't hurt him too bad, because he did kill Cali Burst like within like maybe 2 hits. But so that was the only relevant thing I remember about that match. But then round 7 rather, I play against, now there's a little controversy with this, and it's only controversy within myself, and I'm the only one that's paranoid about it. So quick talking about this, shout out to the guy. He's very animated, very cool dude. I heard Scott played him as well, Scott Landis, Vector Sigma, and he said pretty much the same thing, that he's a pretty animated guy. And so he's entertaining, but I'm trying to get focused, so it was hard to kind of focus and kind of want to laugh and joke with him as well. So I didn't want him to think I was a butt, but I mean, we're getting into these later rounds, and I don't know if he was taking it as seriously as I was, but I was super focused, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, within the match. Before the match, after the match, we laugh, we joke, it's all good. But during the match, I'm trying to be as focused as possible. And he wasn't really, like I said, he wasn't, well, I didn't say it, but he wasn't distracting to me. But I know he kind of caught my vibe mid-match. And he got as serious as I did. We're both just, it was kind of funny how it ended up happening. He ended up following suit. So shout out to that guy. I forgot his name, but so he's playing Lord Megatron, and we go into game 3. Took it to game 3. He sided in Cali Burst game 2, or was it? Yeah, it had to have been 3 games. Yeah. So we get to a point where, now let me say this. I don't remember if I mentioned it on the podcast or not, but I do have to give a shout out to one of my Yu-Gi-Oh friends, Patrick Hoban. He'll never watch this video, but I have to say, so, and this is going somewhere. This is going somewhere. He's won 8 championships. Nationals, big deal. Nationals in Yu-Gi-Oh, 3 Yu-Gi-Oh Championship Series, and 4 ARG, Alter Reality Games, was another entity, kind of like the Pro Play Games, where they used to go around the country and do their tournaments. And there were smaller tournaments, but they were prestigious because a lot of good players always went to those events. So he has 8 championships, 8 rings. Like, these are the only 2 fingers. He has 8 rings. That's crazy, right? A lot of his, you know, sometimes I guess on the surface you can just be like, oh man, this guy's just great. He's just always beating everybody. Sit across from the table from him, you just assume you're always going to lose. No. Actually, something that he said that really just kind of opened my eyes to and this is the whole thing, is he has played against people that should have beat him. Yes, there's that notion of, oh, well, yeah, of course, you know, misplays are misplays. And no, just for me is mind blowing, because it's like, damn, you know, at 8 championships, and just to think he should only have 4, or he should only have 5, only 5 rings, if his opponents didn't misplay. Now, of course, misplays are a part of the game, and when your opponent misplays, the biggest thing after that is to make sure you take advantage of that. If you can take advantage of your opponent misplaying and capitalize on it and steal a game that you weren't supposed to win, hey, it is what it is. Your opponent shooting himself in the foot, but you know, live and learn. You either win or learn, is what I've been saying lately. If his opponent in the last round on the bubble would have made a certain move or whatever, he would have never made it into top 32. Thus, he wouldn't have ever won the championship. So this is kind of what ended up happening to me. Getting back to the Invitational, Megatron's effect is scary. I don't like sitting across from Megatron or Octone, I will say that. Sitting across from a Shockwave, I don't mind. I don't know why. Sitting across from Big Optimus, don't mind. But sitting across from Megatron and Octone is not fun, because depending on what point in the game it is, depending on how many of their characters they have KO'd on you, if Lord Megatron can get off a solid, like, you know, decent crack of damage, especially like if he's attacking and you're decking out, you can really just lose with all that free direct damage that you're taking. So what ended up happening was, I think I had 2 or 3 cards left in my deck, and all he had to do was keep Megatron in bot mode, and he has 2 attacks on me. The first attack from Demolisher is going to make me flip 2 cards, maybe 4 if I flip a white on my first 2. And then his Megatron definitely gets in, and on the Megatron attack, that's where it's super important, because whatever oranges he flips off of his attack count towards his effect when I deck out. So if he flips a white and an orange and then 2 double oranges, he's at 9 base. I have to take 9 for free onto my Shockwave. Long story short, I was gonna lose as soon as I decked out. So I'm just kind of just playing it out. And this kind of goes against what I was saying about scooping your cards up. And this really goes against that. Ooh, don't mind me. But in this situation, I was kind of just, I think the reason why I kept playing was because it's like, well, this is it. I lose this round, I'm not going to be at the top 8. This is the end of my tournament. So I'm kind of just like, you know, putting the blindfold on and just walking out to the plank with the plays, just seeing what's about to happen. And that's another, I think another thing, the reason why I didn't scoop right there, well, I guess that saves me, right? We weren't about to go into time. So it like once he beat me right there, that was it. Like when we still had some time, a little bit of time left on the clock at that time anyway. So he goes to play Hunker Down. Instead of attacking, just attacking, it was a reflex. Hunker Down is like the best card in that deck. You always want to see a Hunker Down as a tank player, right? He plays Hunker Down and flips his Lord Megatron to bot mode. And at first, or it's an alt mode. And at first I didn't realize it. Like I just went to go flip cards off the top of my deck. And I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. I was like, so I deck out, right? So I mill, how many cards do I mill? I mill 3, okay, 3 defense, 1, 2, and I go to reshuffle my deck, and he realizes it as, he's like, yeah, you flip 3 cards, and then he kind of pauses in himself, like, shooting himself that he just misplayed like that, and that's really all there is to say about that. So he kind of mentioned himself, yeah, I just messed up, and I'm like, yeah, you did, because I was not supposed to win that, and, you know, so, I mean, it is what it is, and we take those, as I've been bringing from another game. I say here, we take those. You know, it just is what it is. So he'll definitely, hopefully learn this lesson from that. And, yeah, he literally had the game and just handed me the football and said, go run the other way. You got this, you know, plot twist. Yeah, still good games, though. Good games. We ended up actually going into time, and the way that the health was distributed, I ended up taking the game. But the controversial thing I want to talk about real quick, you know, I talk a lot. You know, I said the video is not going to be long. I shouldn't even bother saying it in the beginning. But yeah, there's a point where right immediately after that happened, I was so distraught and actually started to get nervous. There were a whole bunch of people around behind me. There were people behind him. He definitely said after the match he was nervous, so that also didn't help. When he does the flip and then he goes to attack me, he attacks with Demolisher, and I flip, you know, cards for defense. And as I go to shuffle my deck, I'm thinking it's my turn, so I ready my character. I stand my Shockwave back up, and I go to draw for my turn. I already have 2 cards in my hand. I have something I forgot in an energy pack. And then I go to draw for my turn, and then I'm so fast, so this is actually a double-edged sword, and I need to kind of chill and pay attention to what I'm doing, because I could have got. I go to draw for my turn, and then I shuffle my hand really fast, because, you know, I'm fast with that usually. As you kind of usually see on my videos, I'm always shuffling super fast. And immediately I'm like, oh shoot, my bad, you still have another attack. Because he's like, no wait, I'm not done. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, my bad. So I take a card, not even really looking, and set it on top of my deck. And then I go to flip for defense, and the first card is an energy pack. If you guys remember 30 seconds ago, I said I had an energy pack on top of my deck, or in my hand rather, and I'm like, ooh. And I heard somebody else behind it catch it and say it, and I was like, yo, he just whatever himself. Like, I just screwed myself. Why would I put a orange on top of my deck? Like, if I were to cheat, because that's the thing I'm thinking about, I don't want nobody thinking I'm cheating. If I were to cheat, I would take a security checkpoint or something that I had in my hand and go stack it on top of the deck real fast because he's not paying attention or whatever, or something like that. Well, no, so yeah, I go to flip the energy pack and I stop him, and I'm like, wait, this energy pack was in my hand, this doesn't make sense. I went to draw for my turn and I shuffled my hand. That's my bad. So now I had players behind me vouch for me, so that's what ended up helping out in the end. And he said he trusted me. He wasn't really worried about it. He kind of stopped me in my tracks because I was so distraught. I was like, you messed up. Now you got me messing up, or I got myself messing up based off of what you did. So that could have ended bad, but it didn't end up, going as bad as I thought it could have been. And we ended up just going the game as normal and ended up working out. So in all reality, he could have technically called a judge on me and like, well, I drew a card from my hand. And then you sit here and think, well, it's like, okay, well, judge, why would I stack a double? Why would I stack an orange on top of my deck? If I wanted to do something, I'd stack a blue, and you know what I mean, and had an orange in my hand or whatever. That makes makes no sense. I'm trying to survive so I don't lose. So I'm beating myself up over it more than anything, because normally I don't mess up like that, and I also need to learn to slow down. So there's the thing. And then round 8, I play against Adam Bixler. Shout out to him. He also made top 8. He's been kicking ass this year too. He's always in first place, usually a lot of times at the locals tournaments that we go to, at Top Deck Games and the other shops before we get into the top cut rather. But he was playing the Airstrike Patrol, the 3 Airstrike guys with General Optimus. Very powerful deck. Every orange green in the deck ends up becoming a +3. That's ridiculous. I ended up actually taking that game 2-0 though for 2 reasons. Game 1, he was 7-0 at this point, so he didn't need. The only thing he was doing at this point is potentially just trying to go undefeated and say that he went undefeated at the first Energon Invitational, which would have been dope, going 9-0. But it's because he could lose this round to me and then still tie, or he could, whatever. So what ended up happening was he got my Shockwave to 16, so he missed me by 1. And then he had an Erratic Lightning on his character, and I also had top deck a Gamma Launcher. So I top decked the Gamma Launcher, played it, put my Shockwave fully loaded, and killed his General Optimus to take that game. I also had a key security checkpoint at a point in the game before Shockwave attacked, and I stole like a grenade and a bashing shield, or two things. I know it was a bashing shield, maybe like a bashing and an enforcement batons or whatever. And then game 2, I also did that to him as well. I checkpointed him really good for like 2 or 3 again, and also hit a double arm hovercraft. The second one was unexpected. So I play the first one at a point in the turn. Then the second turn, I have a metal detector and on my Shockwave, and he's next to attack. I flip him to alt mode to draw a card, and the next card on top of my deck is another armed hovercraft. So with metal detector, I attack, flip the hovercraft I know I'm going to get off the top of my deck, and burn his guys again. So dealing a photon bomb in his side of the field really put me ahead, like so far ahead, and I kind of just took the game like normal. But again, shout out to Bixler, great, very strong player. He also top 8'd Origins as well. And yeah, so we ended up 7-1. He's 7-1 as well. He ended up at table 1 still against I forgot who he played against. Aiden, actually. Aiden was the other Shockwave player that made the top 8. So me, him, and then me versus Dan, we all just ended up drawing. Since you're able to draw intentionally in this game, that's broken, because in Yu-Gi-Oh you get banned for that. So hey, take it for what it is while we're able to do it. So us 4 are all 7-1-1, and we're definitely shoe in for top 8. And now Rich, sitting next to me at table 3, Rich was facing against the Shockwave guy I played against round 6, and he had to win because the Shockwave guy was, I think, X1-1 already, so they couldn't tie like we did. So Rich was 7-1, and he had to play, unfortunately, but he ended up actually winning that, and that made him 8-1. So making him 8-1, since we all tied, that put him in first place. So it ended up working out for him. And that'll do it for my round. So we ended up getting into top 8, play against Aiden. So we were talking prior. We had the whole 50-minute round to talk, and he was a very cool dude. Talked about the gym, talked about a couple things. John Temple, shout out to him, past times, was talking to us about some things of how top 8 was going to go, telling us that it's going to be best 3 out of 5, and we didn't find out that it was going to be 75 minutes because there was an additional 25 minutes added on with those extra 2 rounds until I think the morning of, I want to say. So with the best 3 out of 5 rounds, the most important thing to talk about with that is if you were watching on stream and didn't understand why people were side decking or not side decking until game 3, it's because those are the rules per WTC and pastimes and the rules for top 8. Game 1 and 2, you cannot side deck bots or battle cards, and then game 3 through 5, you're able to. So that helped me out a lot versus Aiden in top 8 because my arm hovercrafts, my marksmanships, and all that ate him alive, and that ended up ate his characters alive rather, and it just helped push me so far ahead. They were still long ass games though, and I really didn't think we were gonna go to 5 games. It was gonna end up going into time because 3 games is already tough. 5 games and having that leisure of just kind of having that, and that's exactly what happened. So I ended up taking the first 2 games because of that burn. The burn is the only thing that pushed me ahead. He had things like Leap into Battle on his deck, which is a card I missed, by the way, and it really helped catapult him to put some big damage on Shockwave. But again, like I said, the burn was the main thing that really helped me key the bigger they are plays every now and then, help me win the damage race against his Shockwave. And then going into game 3, the reason why I say it sucked for that situation because him not being able to side deck, he sided in Motormaster game 3, and I'm like, oh snap! So that's really gonna halt my armed hovercrafts and everything. But it's funny because game 3, I literally didn't even see any armed hovercrafts. The first 2 games, I saw the hell out of them. I played them off a field communicator, I played them off a metal detector, and just kept burning. I think I played all 3 or 3 in a way that game. I think I reclaimed one time and put it on top of my deck and attacked and metal detector. Another time I reclaimed, or it was either that or I reclaimed and flipped shockwave to grab the armed hovercraft to play it again. So it was just really nice that it worked out like that. And then yeah, game 3 was just kind of, I think shockwave took out Motor Master finally, and then I was able to defend well, and I ended up just winning the damage race. I forgot exactly how, but I ended up taking that game. So that was a sigh of relief because, you know, I knew the match was going to be a toss-up, but I also knew I had an advantage. Like I said, being able to have 2 games with no side deck, and that was a big deal. So shout out again to Aiden. This is his first tournament ever. I think he's maybe played a couple locals. I know he said he plays with his dad and stuff. You'll have to actually check his deck profile and hear his story from the beginning, and then, you know, of course, his deck profile itself. Very, very cool dude. Shout out again to you, Aiden. Much respect. And then going into top 4, I faced against Ian. Now I was hoping this. Now this is where it really comes down to matchup dependent. My deck in the sphere that Vector Sigma has created, my deck is not good against. I don't think my deck is good against 2-wide aggressive, not the prime deck. And I was hoping, I heard about his deck earlier before top 8, and I was hoping that I wasn't going to get paired against him if I make after top 8. I was hoping that my pairing would be at least against either Bixler again or the Insecticons. But unfortunately, I got a paired against him. You can actually check that game out on stream if you I'm gonna try to find the link and post that down below, and you'll actually be able to see the entire top 8 all the way through to the finals. And yeah. So I win game 1, and then I lose game 2, and I go first again game 3. He went first game 2, and I go first game 3, and I'm actually up 2-1. But little did anybody know, I wasn't excited at all, because I'm like, I'm gonna lose these next 2 games. It wasn't a thing of needing confidence or anything. I sincerely needed an armor early. I needed to be able to get an armor and a secret action. So we go into game 4 actually, and he doesn't side into double prime yet. No, is it game 4? Game 3, game 1, game 2, then we side. Yeah, because game 3 he didn't either. Yeah, game 3 he didn't either, and I ended up winning that game, which is where he was able to side double prime, and he didn't, which I was surprised by. Game 4, he finally sides double prime since he had lost that, and he's down and out. He's like, well, this is a, you know, desperation, you know, for lack of better words, move, and he goes in a double prime, which is what I was hoping he never did. I was hoping he stayed 3-wide the entire time, because I personally thought that I had a better shot. Knew that I had a better shot, so staying with him staying 3-wide. So he goes into 2 tall. He smacks the hell out of Shockwave game 4 and puts Shockwave with 9 damage on it. It wasn't that bad necessarily because I do play Callius Leadership. I do have Energy Pack, but the problem is trying to find them soon before we all stand. So he hits me like that. I go sights into his prime. I don't do anything because I think he flipped the blue just about every time, except just about every time one of my 3 attack guys attacked. So they weren't even doing anything. I really needed the bigger they are. I wasn't playing Leap into battle, so I wasn't able to really push, you know, enough damage with my other guys so Shockwave could go in and put enough pressure to potentially KO his primes. So Sights goes into his Battlefield Legend, and you know what? I'm gonna stop there. You can just go ahead and watch the stream and see exactly how it went down. But I ended up taking that game because when we all stood and he was able to get at Shockwave again, I only had 2 armed hovercrafts on both of my other guys. I could not find the armor. He hit me for like 20, so I didn't have like a sabotage armaments and armor to be able to fend off his attack and live. And I got murdered. Shockwave got murdered, and I scooped right there. I think I had both my little guys still, and I just went to game 5. And then game 5 was not the same thing because I attacked with sights first, but again, I still needed an armor early. And I think I made a misplay or 2 potentially when I look back at the footage. Scott and Matt also mentioned that I made misplay somewhere. I don't think they were. I don't agree that those were misplays. There was another point where it was like a checkpoint that I should have activated when I was fanning through my hand. I actually saw I had a checkpoint. I should have used that checkpoint. The Callius Leadership was a toss-up, but actually, if I would have used the Callius Leadership, I think I would have lived at 16. There's a point we'll see where I should have used that, and I would have been at 16, but I think he would have been able to flip his prime back and grab Zap anyway. I'm not 100%, but either way, good games. We took it all the way to 5 games, but Ian ended up getting me and pushing it on to the finals. So before I talk about the finals, and I'm going to talk about it briefly because let all that thunder stay on Dan's side. He could talk about that all he wants when he finally does his video for his winning deck profile and championship. And again, shout out to you, Dan. Well deserved. We faced each other at Origins. And I was honestly hoping that we kind of joke about it, about being in the finals again wherever else, but we legit almost did it. But I failed you. So that would have been pretty cool to be in the finals again, start the format, or literally start the year off and end the year off both in the finals. And I don't even know which way it would have went. I think I would have definitely gave him a run for his money though, although I'm sure his deck has a good matchup. I know he plays work overtimes, he plays equipment enthusiast, but the thing is, can he keep a hand to do that? So if he can't keep a hand to do that, if he top decks work overtime, is great. But I don't know. So we'll never know how the match would go. I ended up making third place after everything is said and done. So that's still pretty good. I had a very good year. I got me my Energon edition sitting right here. So I got this one. My girlfriend actually ended up buying me one. So I got that one sitting in the room sealed, and this is the one I'm going to open. I wanted to open both, but there's no reason to open both. So I'm going to keep the one just sealed for a while and open and mess with this one that we got from, or this is the one she sent me, and the other one is from Pastime. So got that. I got this really cool, where'd it go? Got this really cool plaque. So I don't know if anybody hasn't been on Facebook yet to check out the plaque. This plaque is mad cool. So shout out to WTC for this top 8 plaque. Really, really cool. So I'll definitely be able to cherish this forever. It has the little prongs on the back so you can, put it on the wall. I'll probably put it on the wall right behind me here pretty soon. That'll be actually what I'll literally do with this. So I'll put that there. Shout out to Kyle Gant. Kyle Gant gave me this. I guess it was like a loot box giveaway. He know I love Black Panther. And yeah, this is pretty awesome. So show this off real quick. This is non-Transformer related, but actually T'Challa's necklace. So the necklace that powers him up to become the Black Panther. So that is awesome. I don't know if I'm actually going to wear it. I probably should. Maybe I'll just keep it how it is and just keep it, clean and nice. But that was pretty cool of Kyle again from Wrecking Rules. So shout out to him. Very, very cool guy for him to do that and think of me to be able to do that. What else did I get? Of course, the prize money, $1,500. So I got $1,500 for third and fourth gets $1,500. So I got that, and yeah, that's really it to show off and to talk about. And so that's gonna do it. So that's gonna do it for my recap video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's kind of long, but I will be doing my deck profile separately, actually immediately after this, but I'll be posting it on a separate day. So be looking forward to that if you want to see me talk about the explanations and my card choices. So overall, it's been a great year. I appreciate it. I made a post on Facebook talking about my weight loss and things. If you're not on Facebook, I share it with everybody. Something I should have shared a long while ago, but I just never got a chance to get around to it. I used to weigh 353 pounds. And a couple of years ago, back in 2013, 2014, and I lost 100 pounds in a year, which isn't good. You shouldn't do that. Your body didn't grow that fast in a year. Your body needs to have time to conform back so you're not getting loose skin. Because I do have some loose skin, unfortunately, but more loose skin than I would like, rather. It's not horrible, but it's mine, and I'm the one that has to own it. So. And then the next year after that, the next couple of months after that, I lost another 60 pounds. So I lost 161 pounds total and went down to about 192. Now I've gained about 50 of it back since then. Like previous relationship had something to do with that, like some motivation and all those things just kind of molded into me gaining about 50 pounds of it back over the next 2 years. But it is what it is. I'm still in the gym. I've been in the gym faithfully for about 6-ish years now. So when I'm ready to really get back into it and grind, I will. I'm just not gonna forcing it. I felt like it was a chore to go to the gym lately. Now I've actually taken the past 3 weeks off, and that's a big deal for me because I've been going faithfully. Those 6 years I was talking about, I've been going every single week faithfully. I may have taken off a day here and there, but I've been going 4 to 6 days a week. And so I think I'm just going to cut my days down to about 4 and, get my cardio in, get my food. But nutrition is the biggest thing. So if anybody ever has any questions about weight loss, and I can tell you some things that I did from the beginning and get you some base starter tips. I still look at YouTube videos myself and, about bodybuilding. I love bodybuilding. That's my thing now. If you couldn't tell, well, muscles getting kind of small now, but it's still a little something there. But I'm always watching bodybuilding videos, listening to bodybuilding podcasts and things like that, learning new things. It's all about the science of how to get the muscles to grow. It's very interesting and very intriguing. So, if I can not be a bum and get a workout in before an event, whenever we get to one of these events, somebody hit me up and let's go to the gym on Friday. That's what I probably need. I probably needed somebody like, hey, you want to go to the gym? Because if somebody asks me, I'm not going to back down because I feel like a bum and I feel like a punk at that point. So I'm going to say, hell yeah, let's go and get this workout in before the event. So great year. can't complain. I think this is a very, very strong first year. My goal was to, after Gen Con, after I top 8 at Gen Con, my goal was to top 8 every single major event from here on out that I went to for the rest of the year. Now I didn't make Dallas because then I could potentially have top 8 at Dallas and said I top 8 at every single major event in this year, but walked away with 2 first places, a top 8 and a top 4. First place at Origins, of course, first place at, or top 8 at Gen Con, first place at PPT Ohio, and then top 4, third place at our, which we actually consider our Worlds tournament, closest to Worlds that we're going to get, our Energon Invitational. So 2 first places, a top 8 and a top 4 is broken to me. That's a very good first year, a very good year in general, and I'm looking to do more, even better, next year, and just keep topping and stay consistent. And I'm here for that competitive sense, but I also love Transformers as well. I'm cool, It's been cool to meet everybody that I've met over this past year, and I hope to meet more people that have been watching, my channel, or watching any content creators channel, and been wanting to travel. If used to play another card game and want to travel, definitely get out here and definitely support if you can. WOTC is doing a fantastic job. Shout out to Drew, shout out to Ken, shout out to Scott, shout out to Matt, shout out to, I feel like I missed John Shork, and shout out to everybody else behind the scenes, everybody that signed everybody that signed my trophy. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of signatures on here. Everybody that signed this trophy, everybody else, can't read some of these cool signatures, but I appreciate you all, and 2020 is upon us, and I'm looking forward to the Pro Play Tour Invitational in Orlando. So there'll be LCQs on that Friday in Orlando. It's the end of January that tournament will be, so be looking forward to that, and I'll be looking out for that, and you can catch me there for the next event. Now there's a PPT coming up in Las Vegas this weekend, so on Sunday, so I'm expecting like Kevin Allen to be there. I know he lives over in California, but I expect him to be there because I remember him saying going to locals or somewhere over in Nevada. So definitely excited to see him compete over there and to watch the live stream on Sunday. So with that, I'm gonna stop talking. It's been about an hour, so if you like hearing me talk, great, you made it this far, I appreciate you, I applaud you, and that'll do it. You guys know what it is. This is S. Heading out. You guys have a great day and a great night whenever you're catching this video. Peace.